The committee will come to order. Without objection, the chair may declare a recess at any time. Today, we come together to discuss the intelligence community's 2024 annual threat assessment. We begin with an open session that is being broadcast live and streamed on the committee's YouTube channel. The open session is entirely unclassified. All participants are reminded to refrain from discussing classified information or other information protected from public disclosure. Upon the conclusion of the open session, we will recess and resume for the closed session in the committee hearing room at 2 p.m. or immediately following the first vote series, currently scheduled from 1:30 to 2:10. It is the intention of the committee to proceed with this hearing without any disruptions. Any disruption of the committee will result in the United States Capitol Police restoring order, and the protesters will be removed and arrested. It is my pleasure to welcome a renowned group of intelligence community leaders. During today's proceedings, we will hear from the Honorable Avril Haines, Director of National Intelligence, the Honorable William Burns, Director of the Central Intelligence Agency, the Honorable Christopher Wray, Director of the Federal Bureau of Investigation, General Timothy Hawk, Director of the National Security Agent and Commander of the U.S. Cyber Command, and Lieutenant General Jeffrey Cruz, Director of the Defense Intelligence Agency. I want to pause for just a minute to give my personal thanks to Director Burns and to Director Haines and the manner in which you've worked with this committee over the past over a year now in both a bipartisan way, working with Jim Himes, myself, and all of our members, making certain that we have the information that we need and being available for discussions on important issues. I greatly appreciate your contributions to the success of this committee, and I wanted to recognize that. The annual threat assessment hearing provides the intelligence community an opportunity to update Congress and the American people on serious threats to our national security. The intelligence community exists to protect the American people by informing policy and decision makers of the threats posed to national security, which includes critical infrastructure, economic security, cybersecurity, food security, and several other components of national security. Each year, the world evolves, growing more interdependent. Our adversaries are aligning, and emerging technologies are changing the operational environment. We are in the midst of a shifting geopolitical landscape with strategic competition at the forefront. Now more than at any other time, at least not since the Cold War, nation-state threats are dominating the United States' national security concerns. Beijing, Moscow, and Tehran are anti-American and working together domestically, regionally, and internationally. These common adversaries have overlapping interests and approaches. Example includes Russia's invasion of Ukraine, Hamas's attack on Israel, and continued Iranian proxy assaults in the region, and the People's Republic of China's regular military show of force threatening Taiwan. Also concerning is Pyongyang's recent tests of the North Korean intercontinental ballistic missile Hwasong. Based on the missile's flight data, South Korea and Japanese assets are at risk, and it has the potential range of striking the United States. This is a flagrant violation of United Nations Security Council resolutions. Over the last year, the committee has conducted numerous engagements, both in and beyond the SCIF. One area that seems fragmented and vague is the foreign-domestic divide. There are heightened threats at the border, and the homeland is under constant assault, whether it be from cyber attacks, counterintelligence threats, or foreign malign influence. What is not clear is how the intelligence community communicates those threats to other federal, state, local, tribal, or private sector partners. The lack of clarity on this issue raises the question of whether the federal government is organized appropriately and prepared to defend the United States against the kinds of threats the American people face from our foreign adversaries here. On more than one occasion, some of you have publicly warned of threats to homeland security from the People's Republic of China. The PRC is compromising and maintaining persistent access to U.S. critical infrastructure. As stated in an unclassified cybersecurity advisory published to the public last month, the PRC is targeting and has already compromised telecommunications, energy, transportation, and water sectors. To quote this advisory, in some cases, the cyber actors have been living inside information technology networks for years to pre-position for disruptive or destructive cyber attacks in the event of a major crisis or conflict with the United States. Remember, the advisory states that this actively has been going on for years. And that really is, I think, the threat that we need to rise to, is an understanding that this is not a new phenomenon of the PRC targeting assets and infrastructure of the United States. In addition to prepositioning in critical infrastructure, China seeks to be a world power in science and technology by any means possible. This poses a significant counterintelligence threat to the United States and allied partners. China is attempting to to advance as a technology superpower by offering investment and acquiring or stealing intellectual property in fields like power and energy, artificial intelligence, biotechnology, agriculture, quantum computing, and semiconductors. Russia continues an unjust war against Ukraine's sovereignty, bolstering its defense production by leveraging relationships with China and Iran. We should not forget that North Korean munitions factories are supplying Russia with weapons and artillery shells to use against Ukraine. We look forward to further insights on Russia's nuclear posture, directed energy weapons, anti-satellite capabilities in space, and ground-based anti-satellite missiles designed to target U.S. and allied satellites. Iran, who is also benefiting from closer ties with China and Russia, has built and funded a network of proxies to promote Iran's regional objectives. Iran supported Hamas's attack on Israel and continues to back Hamas. Iran provides weapons and intelligence for terrorist attacks on U.S. personnel, installations in the region, and terrorist attacks on the global supply chain transiting the Red Sea. Last year, during the annual threat assessment hearing, I set forth the committee's plan for the reauthorization of FISA, Section 702. An immense amount of committee work has gone into our bill reforming FISA. We produced a strong bill that puts in place the appropriate compliance guardrails and provides the tools necessary to protect our country. We know the importance of this authority, and we know the danger to America and our allies if the intelligence community does not have the capability to produce intelligence from FISA's 702 collection. There is a perceived lack of accountability that is the most troubling aspect for Congress and the American public to trust the intelligence community, and that the intelligence community is doing the right thing, reporting wrongdoing, taking responsibility, correcting actions, and monitoring actions. That is why our FISA bill aggressively reforms the FISA process to address past abuses. In the face of all these challenges, the intelligence community's core mission stands, which is to identify foreign threats and provide warning to protect Americans. Our committee oversight work takes this very seriously, and we continually examine areas for improvement and provide bipartisan legislative solutions when needed. Today, you will hear questions from our members on various interest areas, and to be respectful of everyone's time, I ask that all of you be direct and succinct. With that, I look forward to hearing the answers from our esteemed panel, and I recognize my ranking member, Jim Himes, for his opening remarks.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and welcome to our distinguished panel, and in particular, General Hawk and General Cruz, who are joining today for the first time as new directors of NSA and DIA. This annual hearing is a vital part of our oversight. It's a unique chance for the public to hear directly from each of you about the IC's assessment of a range of threats and issues. The stuff that we hear every single day behind closed doors. The world can sometimes feel as though it's straining under the weight of conflict. Putin's ongoing assault in Ukraine, the People's Republic of China, saber-rattling at a democratic Taiwan, the ongoing crisis in Gaza, the deteriorating situation in Haiti, I could go on. My point is, we need the public to see that we have a dedicated and objective intelligence community that can soberly present these complicated threats and challenges based on fact and rigorous analysis. We're fortunate in HPSI to see this daily on a classified basis, and I know that your appearance here today will help reinforce that. I will return to this during my questions, but we are amid another presidential election. In previous federal campaign cycles, we know that foreign powers have attempted to interfere, and the latest assessment by the IC says it's a possibility that they may do so again. We need to ensure, and in no way do I disagree with any of the catalog of foreign threats that the chairman laid out. I agree with them in their entirety, but we need to ensure in particular that foreigners stay out of American elections, period. And we need the community to credibly collect against and warn the public when they determine that such malign activities targeting our political process are occurring. I'll be focused on this threat in the months ahead, and I'm pleased that this committee will have the opportunity to receive a classified update next week at the working level. As the IC's assessment lay out, we have seen past interference efforts by Russia, China, and Iran, among others, of different sorts, and we have every reason to believe that some or all of them will try again. I'm particularly concerned that Putin is exploring opportunities because he has already done so in part, and because he has a lot to gain. I hope you will give us a sense of what the Russian leader's calculus may look like, as well as that of other potential actors. I'll also note that this will be the first general election in the era of generative AI, which can create realistic video, photos, audio, and text at a scale and sophistication that was unimaginable just a year ago. We need to be ready. The IC's job is to focus its collective powers outward to protect our nation, but I feel strongly that some of the greatest threats to our security and the world's security, unfortunately, are homegrown. I fear that we are slouching towards an election in which decisions will be made based on what excites us, what enrages us, what enraptures us, that we will substitute for the critical faculties that are essential for a citizen in a democracy, a self-satisfied scratching of our prior beliefs and political opinions. I tell my constituents regularly that you will all work very hard, we will work hard to try to take down the temperature and restore the civility and the intelligence of our politics, but at the end of the day, Americans and their decisions about how they will act as citizens of a democracy will get the democracy that they deserve. We're faltering with a continued failure to support Ukraine. The Russian leader has been emboldened to believe that he can snatch victory from the jaws of defeat. Our Ukrainian partners have fought with incredible courage against the Russian war machine, and they have won victories that were beyond anyone's expectation. It appears, however, that we have lost our nerve at the critical juncture. Director Burns, you recently returned from another visit to Kyiv. I hope you'll share with the committee some reflections on what's at stake and the urgency with which we need to act. Finally, as the chairman said, and in the category of self-imposed crises, I am deeply concerned that Section 702 of FISA expires in just over a month unless the Congress acts. As the IC witnesses can attest, 702 is our most important intelligence authority, and we need to reauthorize it right away. I appreciate all the work that the witnesses at the table have done to help make that the case, but we are not done yet. Before turning back to the chairman, I would also like to touch briefly on technology adoption and innovation in the IC. I've long championed this work and authored a report on the topic several years ago. For all of China's strengths, they cannot compete with the entrepreneurial culture and the innovation that we regularly achieve here in the United States. Getting that innovation into the IC's mission and into the DoD's mission is going to define our success over the next decades. We spend a lot of time in this place debating whether capital should flow, how IP should be protected, whether we should shut down a Chinese-owned social media platform. The merits of those efforts are open to debate, but if we continue to innovate the way we always have, we will win. So I thank you all.
Thank you.